Hi, I'm Emily at Family Life with the Pod, and today I'm going to teach you how to use cosplay as a big homeschool project. So what is cosplay? Well, cosplay is simply costume play. It's making screen characters from movies or even video games that you love. This could also apply to historical costuming. You could take what I'm going to teach you here and tweak it towards historical costuming if that's what you're into. And if you like videos about homeschooling and parenting and just general family fun, be sure to like and subscribe. One of the serendipities of homeschooling is the realization that so many things can be used in education and can be tied to all the subjects and accomplish a really unique goal. So I'm going to show you how cosplay spans over all of the subjects. And remember, this is just one type of project. There's all kinds of different projects that you could organize out with your child using a method very similar to this. It doesn't have to be costume, it could be anything, but that's what we've chosen today. The first thing we are learning today is character analysis of our cosplay character. And we want to ask our children, what draws them to this character? What do they like about this character? And if you listen really carefully, you can learn some amazing things about your children and why they like this costume or they like this character. And it gives you an insight into their own character. And then evaluation, you need to ask, is this a good costume for your skill set at this time? If you haven't ever cosplayed before or even done historical costuming, do you want to start with something grand and huge? Or do you want to start with something that's maybe a little easier on the budget, easier to accomplish? So talk with your student over those things so that they understand that you're not just saying no to something that is, you can see that is huge scale and very pricey to complete. But you can help guide them to ones that are going to build an education in their sewing, cosplaying, building career. So the next thing we are learning is organization, reason and logic skills as we begin to get our thoughts together. So I have my girls create an in-depth CRL, Costume Reference Library. And I'm going to have a video on how we set that up. That's the next video, so you'll want to stay tuned. But it's how we keep our journal organized of what we're going to, the steps that need to be involved in creating this costume. But real quick, if you would just take a moment and subscribe and like this video and make sure that you hit the bell so that you can see further content, because we're going to have more videos about how to use cosplay as a large-scale homeschool project, and you're going to want to learn more about this. So please follow us on Instagram and Facebook and get all of our updates. Language arts. I have my girls create a vocabulary list as they go along, as there's always new words associated with costuming and the characters, and we keep that in our CRL, our journal, our costume journal, as well as a lot of written presentations and writing practice. There's all kinds of things that are needed for writing. There's labeling out of costumes, and it does require quite a bit of language arts. For example, there's lots of different terminology when you're working with costume pieces. We're learning the difference between gauntlets and vambraces and all the different pieces of armor as we're making fake armor out of foam for our characters. And it's really fun to get the terminology as correct as you possibly can, grounding it in history and moving forward to the fantasy sci-fi realm. History. For history, we try to ground all of our cosplay in as much history as possible. So we're researching in books and looking on the internet to see what inspired the costume designers to use this specific design. And it's a really fun challenge historically to find where all the costumes get their pieces, and a lot of them are just a mix of many different types of historical costumes all mashed together. But an example of this would be the Star Wars, the Mandalorian helmets are, as you can see back here, we're working on some prototypes, but a lot of them are based off of an owl, night owls, but they're also just Corinthian Roman style helmets. Science. Adhesives and paints are not all made equal, and having a basic understanding of what is the proper use and precautions is imperative, and just common sense science. Do we need to wear a respirator while we're using this? Or, you know, what are the effects of this if we're not careful? And talking those over with your kids is a great way to talk about science and also talk about cause and effect and harm to your body. So being careful, lots of supervision. Math. Pattern drafting, sizing and scaling pieces up or down to fit. Lots of geometry and spatial awareness goes into making the costume pieces fit. The scale of the cosplayer, and who may have a different body type or size than the person on screen. And printing or drafting patterns at different percentages to fit. There's a lot of math involved here. Going to fabric stores and calculating materials, how much yardage you're going to need. There's also a lot of time management and prioritizing, understanding and projecting how long a project is going to take to build is a really big skill. Like looking at a calendar of your whole year and going, when am I going to finish this costume is a really unique opportunity for kids to begin to understand time. And then learning about buying materials, buying them in bulk, buying them wholesale, buying them from private vendors and artisans. And so yeah, a lot of math involved. Art. So much art. There's so much art. Drawing the costume details by hand or digitally is so important to understanding how things are put together, because just looking at a picture you do miss a lot of the details, but drawing it out you catch so much more. You don't have to be good at drawing skills to do cosplay, not at all actually, but a bonus, you will get better doing art if you do cosplay because you're drawing so much. The important part is to pay attention to details and get the details down. Presentation and articulation. I have my girls explain their costuming process and organization throughout its various stages to different people, family and friends, and they're generally very impressed and enthusiastic about the project that's happening, and even sometimes offer help, which is really cool. I also keep a log for when they do non-costuming work. So they're not sitting at a sewing machine or building armor. They are out socializing with people, talking with other cosplayers possibly. If you ask politely, a lot of times cosplayers are very friendly and will help you out. But going shopping for costume pieces, for the fabric, and for going to tool stores and getting the right tools and supplies, I count and log those hours too into this project. Fine motor skills and research and sourcing. Fine motor skills are really put to the test here as you're cutting out paper patterns precisely and working with fabrics and foams and cutting those. It's also having careful supervision of using sharp tools and hot tools. And then a lot of research goes into this, a lot of poring over books, going to the library, watching tutorials on YouTube, and talking with a lot of other people who have had experience online making this specific costume that you might be researching. And might I add, all of that is very much supervised. I wouldn't have my kids online talking with people if it weren't through me. Seeing a project like this through to completion is a major accomplishment and something to be very proud of. So be sure to choose a cosplay that you can indeed finish so that it's complete. You have that sense of completion, which is the main aspect that we're trying to teach here, that organization leads to completion. There are many levels of cosplaying, from just duct tape and cardboard, super fun, and then all the way up to 100% screen accurate to be able to join certain clubs. And that is very labor intensive and very, very expensive, but very rewarding. So make sure you choose what level you're at, where your resources are, and you can play along because they're all fun. Whatever level you're cosplaying at is fun. So this is a major project that allows us to encourage the various disciplines of our education so that your student can put them to practical use in daily life. This brings all the subjects together in a beautiful feat of imagination and hard work. You'll feel very accomplished at the end of this. And this is how I justify using cosplay as homeschool. And of course, it's not the only work we do. That's silly. Of course, we do other bookwork, reading, writing, and arithmetic, and all that good stuff. But doing a big project like this does solidify that those subjects that we're learning are real, and you can really use them in real life to produce. All right, so as you know, our channel is comprised of a lot of different aspects of homeschooling and family life, as well as parenting. And don't worry, we'll be back with more things about nature journaling and the weather charts, as you can see behind me here, and all the fun. And if you found this video to be an inspiration of a unit study that you could use in your homeschool, please be sure to make a comment down below, because we would love to hear from you. What are you cosplaying? What are you using as a big, huge unit study? And be sure to like, subscribe, and ring the bell so that you get more notifications when we have awesome content coming out. And be sure to like, subscribe, and ring the bell so that you get more notifications when we have awesome content coming out. And follow us at Family Life with the Pod on Facebook and Instagram, and I think we have Twitter. Go check it out. And be sure to stay tuned for the Daddy Breakdown videos that my husband is coming out with in just a little bit. Reviews of products that pertain to family life, as well as movies, educating families on what are good products and movies and services to use for the whole family. And be sure to check out the video about this weather wheel sitting here behind me. We are selling it on our website, and it's coming out very soon anyway. And there's also a video how you can make one yourself. That's no moon, it's a space station.